Hello, people. My name is Brittany, and when I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with autism. Autism is a neurological disorder that can affect your learning, social, and behavioral communication. Autism is a spectrum, which means not everyone with the condition will have the same qualities and quirks. My parents would usually tell me stories about when I was younger, how I was barely able to speak at the normal appropriate time, how I would always get sent home from school, and all the times I would get in trouble such as biting kids. Like, trust me when I say it used to be so bad back then. Now, in the present times, my bad behavior dialed down a lot. I can get kind of unpleased and anxious with being forced into social situations, and I am typically the shy, quiet kid at school with no friends. There was a New York City trip at the school that started in early June of 2018. I was 12 at the time and my sister was 14, so since this trip was for both 7th and 8th graders, my mom really wanted us to go together since New York City is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and her and dad were going to New Orleans at the same time. Even at the start, I knew I was going to have an awful time there since I am not a city girl, I'm more of a country girl. And when we had to choose our roommates, all of the kids were crowded and it was like I barely know anyone there. But everything was a win to me on that trip. Talk about land of the free. And the roommates the school chose for me were two girls in my grade named Chloe and Mara. They are both Caucasians with straight hair. Chloe having brown hair and a ponytail, and Mara having short to medium blonde hair and glasses. Since I don't feel like bringing up their names too often, I'll only be calling them by their physical appearances. Got that? Good. Now, I knew who both of them were before the trip started, but I didn't know them enough before the experience. My mom always tried to put a positive spin on this and say, maybe you'll have fun on this trip if you open yourself more so you can actually be friends with those girls. And later, I was thinking those thoughts too, like maybe if I show more of my outgoing funny side, since most people say I'm like the comedian of my family, then I imagine us hanging out after this, like what normal friends could do, so I wanted to give it a try. When the trip started, we were waiting at the parking lot. I was still with my parents and my two quote-unquote friends were standing there talking to each other. I remember making this one joke. Wasn't my mom saying something related to how the last time she rode her bike was when she first got it, I think, and my dad went, "Oh!" I'm not sure if they saw that, but at the time I really hope they did. So arriving at NYC, and at first the girls were really nice to me, sometimes too nice, but nice, which isn't out of the ordinary because most people at school like to describe me as a super shy but sweet person. So it was normal. Until we reached our hotel. We toured around the rooms, but once we got in the bathrooms, they tried to teach me how to use the shower. Like, what? I am the exact or almost the same age as those schools, and they tried to teach me how to use a flippin' shower? I feel kind of offended here. So I just turned it on, and they were like, "Good job!" Yeah, red flag number one. Skip to the gift shop. They would treat me as if they were babysitting me as the blondie forced me to hold her hand when she said, "Come on, Brittany, let's go." I tried to fight it off, but she went all passive aggressive, like, "Come on." Until the only person who stood up for me on this entire trip, her mom, which is our chaperone, came to us and told her that she didn't need to hold my hand and that I didn't want her to do it. And even when she tried to talk back to her mom, she eventually listened and let me go. Red flag number two. Skip to the Broadway musical. This was the first ever Broadway musical I saw live, and it was School of Rock. I have never seen the movie before at the time, so it was completely a blind reaction for me, and I had a blast. After the musical ended, the blondie first asked me, "Do you like the musical?" And I said, "Yeah," but then she asked me a very offensive question. "Did it hurt your ears?" Okay, what? So everyone on the autism spectrum are different, and I know that one of our main qualities are our sensitive hearing. And while yes, I do follow that trait of naturally hearing these in a more louder volume, I don't freak out whenever it happens. And even so, I have this special trick to adjust my loud hearing by yawning and then taking a deep sniff on the side of my finger or arm so sounds can get more comfortable for me. It was a strange question, but I just said no, not thinking too much of it afterwards. Red flag number three. And I can never forget what happened at the end of the trip. So again, the girls acted so nice as they insisted to pack my bag for me. I tried standing up for myself saying that I can do this, but whenever I tried to help, they were like, "No, no, no, we got this." Arriving at the bus, it was going to be a long drive home from New York to Michigan, so we always need our pillows and blankets. But when I checked my bag, I couldn't find my blanket. So the brunette one was like, "Oh, sorry, you must have packed your blanket in your suitcase instead of your day bag. Are you okay?" I still remember giving back this passive-aggressive inflection in my voice like, yeah, I'm fine. So I tried to find a seat at the bus and everyone insisted that I sit next to my sister. Despite the fact that we never really talked to each other ever since I went to middle school, so I did. At the bus ride home, I was in between my sister at the left and my quote-unquote friends who were Quatermars at the right. That's when I realized the way the girls were treating my sister were way different than how they treated me, and it was so noticeable since I had to sit between them. They would treat her normally like chatting, joking around, and one of them asked her, "Can I borrow a book?" Which with me, they asked, "Did it hurt your ears?" Yeah, correlate the two questions together. So I got a little jealous, which made me thought of this funny idea. I was going to fake asleep with my back bent down and my arms dangling on the floor, to show out my funny side to them, and later we can actually be friends. So I got into position. I still remember though giggling at the brunette one asking my sister, "Does she always sleep like that?" Which she said no. That's when I could feel my friends poking at my back saying, "Brittany, wake up! Brittany, wake up!" Which later turned into a giggly chant like, "Brittany!" And so I can hear them talking behind my back while my sister literally does nothing. While in my fake sleep position listening, I could just feel the anger boiling inside me like a thermometer going, and once that happened, I quickly turned my head towards them and yelled in a very cracky and heartbroken voice, "Can you please stop bullying me?" The whole bus was silent. As I saw the priceless looks on the girls' faces, I didn't know what to do from them, so I just bursted out crying. That's when one of the teachers came at the four of us and she was like, "Okay, what's going on? What happened?" And that's when the brunette made up this stupid lie saying, "Oh, she's just mad that we forgot her blanket." And for some idiotic reason, the teacher ended up believing her. So instead of asking me, since I was the one who started this whole hysteria, she turned to my sister as if she was my legal guardian and asked her something like, what do we do when she acts like this?" Which to them, I can hear you guys. Seriously, just because I'm autistic doesn't mean that I'm deaf. So that's when my sister said, she usually likes to be alone. Which even though at the time I saw this as my sister betraying me, honestly, I would have done the same thing if I had a little sister with autism who I barely talked to. Plus, she was more like a bystander, so please don't hate her. So thanks to my quote-unquote friends and my sister who betrayed me, but really, I don't blame her. I had to sit next to the teacher for the entire bus ride home. Not only did I feel isolated from the rest of the kids, but I felt like I was back in kindergarten because of the way everyone's trying to dumb me down and see me as just disabled. After I was crying, I took a selfie to show my mom we were coming back home, except I looked so sad in the photo. Even though I tried my best to hide the fact that I was crying, somehow my mom knew. When we arrived back to the school, I just wanted to get off that bus immediately, and when arriving to the car, I couldn't remember that much from the conversation. Besides my mom asking what was wrong all because of the selfie and her calling out my sister like, "Why didn't you do anything?" This entire trip affected my mental health greatly and my extreme desire to be normal, and I used to call myself an autistic freak. All those negative thoughts hit me the worst in 8th grade, and at times, I still have those scary thoughts today. If you're wondering, the girls never got in trouble, and whenever there's a time I will watch an episode that discusses about fake friends, I'll always feel huge amounts of empathy for that character and will get horrible PTSD from that experience. I don't know if you can consider there to be a happy ending, but this is one of the experiences that taught me to never have anyone but yourself define your capabilities and who you really are. Because you are you, and having any disabilities shouldn't limit you from conquering amazing achievements. Such as when I was representing my middle school in the showcase of my narrative poem, Mercury and the Moon, in the District Wide celebration in 8th grade. Today, I am planning to study neurodiversity to encourage people who are similar to me. And finally, like I said, you are you, and I will never want to be anyone else but me, because I am rare and unique, and as my motto goes, the rarest things in the world can be the most beautiful things in the world if you just look deep through the surface.